Tanner Smith from Love on the Spectrum has won all of our hearts. But who is the mom behind this beautiful man, and what is she passionate about? Her name is Nicci Smith. She's an incredible mom, an advocate, and takes Tanner's popularity with balance and grace. There are a few topics we're going to cover today. We'll talk about her own identity, as we often get blended behind our children, and we'll jointly cover our intense love of physical fitness and self-care.
Love it.
We'll also talk a bit about the good and the bad and the ugly of social media and how she navigates several accounts, as well as her views on sifting through the opinions of others. Welcome, Nicci.
Thank you so much for having me, Betsy. I'm so excited. It's so much fun to be on this side of the podcast.
I know.
I have like this sense of freedom. I'm like, oh, Betsy's in charge.
No notes. You don't have any notes.
Nope. I'm just here. I'm just free flying.
I know. I've been on a lot of podcasts lately, and it is just really, really fun. So I'm so glad. And I'm going to have Lise on next, but I know she's traveling like crazy like you are.
I know.
So, getting both of you, I don't even know how you have time to do your podcast with the two of your schedules.
I'm trying so hard to get Tara Reynolds and Lauren Flack.
Oh, my friends.
I love them, and I'm fascinated with their stories, and I want to talk to them so bad, but same thing. Just them navigating their family life, and
I know.
not been able to connect yet, but I can't wait to talk to them.
I love the kind of behind the scenes love that a bunch of creators have for each other.
Oh, I love it.
And both of them are two of my favorites.
Oh.
And just, it's the same thing with you, is that the people that are in it for the right reasons. And the publicity is secondary. The fun of it, the love of it is the primary focus, which is.
Absolutely. And for us, I mean, the publicity was accidental. I mean,
I know.
There was no forethought to that. That was complete just shot in the dark. What in the world is happening? What did we just get hit with? Okay, I guess we're going to pivot and make this our whole life. That was literally what happened. I mean, all the time, now, had you been, did he audition? I'm like, no, I sent his name and a picture in, and I never thought about it again. And here we are. Here we are.
It is kind of interesting, the path that we all take to get here to like where we are right now with followers and our creative outlet. But but we all share this extremely similar love for the caregivers.
Yeah.
And like you, when I got into it, it was just something to kind of do.
Right.
But then you see this like deep sadness and despair with a lot of the caregivers, and it now becomes your focus to help them. And as an older mother, I feel it's my obligation to kind of pave the way a little bit for them.
And shed some light and relieve some of that fear and loneliness. And that was, I mean, for sure, maybe not the hardest, but second, at least, part of it all when Tanner was young. I just felt so alone. I felt like there was nobody like us. I felt like there was, no one else could truly understand what I was going through. And now to be able to look online and see moms like us who have been in the grind for 20 plus years, and that we are not only surviving, but we're thriving. And, that life doesn't look like we thought it was going to look, but it still looks good. It still looks really good. That's what I'm loving.
So what I want to know today, which I literally am very, very interested about this. Who were you before? Who were you before the publicity hit?
That's an interesting question, Betsy. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I just, when I logged on today, I said, I'm going to tell the truth because I like Betsy is a no bullshit person. You're going to tell the truth.
It's an exclusive right here, fans.
Right here. Here we go. What's really funny is, and we'll talk about later, there've been a lot of assumptions made about me online. Not that I'm like so well known, but for the people who do follow Tanner's
You're
stuff,
pretty well known.
and
But
they make me die laughing. First time they say I'm blonde, I'm not. I mean, this is totally fake. I am not really a blonde. Like, she's this Southern woman. I grew up in Central Illinois in an extremely lower middle class family, worked hard. I am not a blonde Southern woman. I am a brunette from the Midwest, and it's just so funny to me what the people look at your outer appearance or,
Yeah.
Whatever little snippet they're seeing and just make all these rash judgments. But, Betsy, I'm going to be honest. I went from being somebody's daughter to somebody's girlfriend to somebody's wife to somebody's mom. Now, I'm going to layer that. It worked out really well for me because I met and married an absolutely wonderful man who I am still happily married to 32 years later. And but I will be really honest. And Mark knew, I'm not saying anything I wouldn't say to Mark.
Right.
I have a lot of regret about that. I was we got married, we met when I was 19. We got married when I was 21. And then I had Taylor when I was 24.
Wow.
I was never my own person. I never bought a car. I never, got my own insurance. I did have a job. I did go to college, I did those things and had independence in those couple of years. But I was never truly had an identity as an adult that was not attached to some other person and not integrally, impacted by being connected to another person. And for me, I've been sort of finding that in my 40s and now in my early 50s, and it's been really evolving. And it really has been taking me like the last 10 years to figure out, who am I? What do I really like? What do I really love? And Tanner and his diagnosis and being an autism mom and being forced to be brave, being forced to go ahead and act while you're scared, because that's a lot of what being an autism mom is. You don't know. Everybody wants you to have these answers. They want you to, blaze the trail and know what to do. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I didn't even know what autism was, And at the same time, you're trying to be a wife. You're trying to parent the other typical children. And I was tackling all that in my 20s and 30s. And that took those 2 decades. I mean, I was just consumed. In my 20s, I was having babies. And in my 30s, I was raising babies. And don't get me wrong, loved it. Would not. I'm so blessed. I'm the most blessed person in the world. I have 2 of each. And I wouldn't trade a thing. But I feel like my life's a little flip-flopped. I'm having my me time now. This is, I'm figuring all that out now. And I feel like I don't even know that 21-year-old girl who got married. Thankfully, our relationship evolved and grew, and Mark and I grew together, and we've changed and molded together. But I don't even recognize her.
Jessie asked me, my daughter Jessie, my youngest, asked me the same question recently, which made me think of asking you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh.
It's hard, isn't it?
I don't know if I like her too much. Like I think back who I was. She wanted to know who I was before I had children.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I was so superficial. I was really, really egocentric. And very critical, very, very, very critical of people.
You're so not critical. That's so
I know.
and it's
so,
person.
Well, that's how I was raised a little bit, to kind of like turn your nose down on certain people that don't think like you.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, so that's when you stop and you think, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, autism. Thank you for that slap in the face of challenges that made me who I am today.
And humbles you.
Yeah.
And down to earth. We say that all the time. We're like, Mark and I, like Tanner's autism, we feel like is just as much God's plan for shaping us as for Tanner. I mean, it has just fundamentally changed both of us as individuals, as a married couple, the way we ran our family, the way we parented the other kids, and the impact on the other 3 is just, it's so profound. You can't even, all of us look at each other, they're all adults now, and we all look at each other and we're like, who would we be without Tanner? If Tanner was just a typical guy, if he was just a typical guy, number one, he'd be married by now, he'd probably have a girlfriend or, a relationship of some sort, he'd be forging his career. I'm like, who would we be?
Maybe. That's the other part that I always think about is like,
he might be doing nothing. Yeah.
like Like, there's no guarantee for that one either.
Right, exactly, exactly. It is, it's fascinating, and, like, I really encouraged my girls, both of them particularly, not that I wouldn't encourage my boys, I did, but certainly the girls. I said, I'm never going to tell them what to do, ever. I'm like, you are you, and I am
Yeah.
now moving into the role of friend and advisor. I'm your biggest cheerleader. I will always be your safe space, but I am never going to tell you what to do because I spent my whole life being told what to do, who to be, how to look, how to think. And that, no shade to my upbringing, but it's the truth. It is just what it was. And
Mhm.
it was hard for me. It scarred me. And I was so determined to not do that to my children. I want them to be who they are. I want them to bloom. I want them to deviate. Like,
Mhm.
don't be don't be who you think I want you to be. You be you.
Mhm.
And, but I did tell my girls, if I can give you one piece of advice, live alone for a few years, buy a car, take some financial risk, have an income, travel, do some things by yourself just so that you know you can. Just so that
Mhm.
you know you can, and that you just instill that little bit of confidence in your soul that if I ever was or am alone, I'm going to be fine. And I, like I said, I have lucked up in my situation, but I just think that's so important, for young women. I
I
think, and
I think
both my
that's
girls have done it.
socially I think that is definitely socially more accepted now that they
Yeah,
do as
for sure.
compared to when we were
Oh yeah.
younger.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was my parents were very much like there's a time limit before you better
Get
marry
you.
and have children, and it was not thought of that way. So
Oh no.
yeah. But you brought some great point up regarding moms are such as us are now beginning to come into our own. And
Mhm.
I think that I want to say these things as an encouragement to those who feel they've had to put their life on hold
Right.
while their children are little,
Yeah.
that will I ever get to do the things that I really want to do? And I have so much encouragement on that because I could never imagine the
Oh,
blessings that I have now. Uh,
never. I
and
mean, same. Never. Could never have
right.
imagined would be doing it 53. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just imagine. Cannot imagine.
So one thing that you and I both share is our absolute love of physical fitness.
Yes, yes.
And before we talk about this, because it's kind of a segue, I want to hear all about your story, but I want to tell you briefly my story because
Oh,
it's
it's
really unique with physical fitness in that I danced when I was little. I took dance lessons and things
yeah.
like that. But for the most part, since I was 20 years old, I was a couch potato. I did
No
little
way.
to absolutely nothing. Occasional walk now and then,
Yeah.
but never exercised at all.
Right.
And then then as I was getting a little bit older, I started kind of being a little curious with it. When John died, I was 50 years old when John died,
Okay.
and I bought my first bike. Like
Mhm.
I used to see people riding their bike and think, "Oh, that's something I really want to do." And I was
Right.
so bad, I couldn't get up my driveway. Like I was like I was so bad
Oh
with
my
it
god.
but I had a lot of free time back then, and one of the things that I would do is I just kept writing, and I just kept writing and writing, and eventually moved to San Francisco and started riding those incredible
Oh,
hills
Bill. Yeah.
and just got stronger and stronger and stronger. I I put off exercise for a lot of years. So 2 years ago, I started bar 3, and that
Oh,
massively
love
changed my
it.
life.
Mhm.
And now I'm extremely strong, the best shape I've probably ever been in my
Isn't it
life.
cool?
And and I'm saying this because if anybody hears a story that somebody was always athletic or always a gym rat or whatever it might be, they may think, yeah,
I
I didn't
did
get that
that.
gene, I
Yeah.
didn't get that card, whatever it is. What I want people to know is 58 is when I started bar 3,
That is
okay?
amazing.
And I now can lift incredible
I love it.
weights. I can hold my plank for a minute, which I'm really proud
No, that is, so
of.
what is your, like, weekly routine, like, fitness routine? Like, what would
3
you do?
days a week. So
Okay.
3 days a week, I go Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
Uh-huh.
and I do an hour class. I do a like a cardio general overall class. I do
Condition.
one that is specifically strength and
Right.
weights, and
I
then I
love
do one that is more stretching and more like
mobility.
a yoga type thing. So
Love
I
it.
do that and non-negotiable. Absolutely
Oh,
non-negotiable.
oh, fitness, yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now tell your story. I just wanted
No,
to
you know what?
start with
It's
that.
so crazy. We're very similar then.
Oh, really?
Not
Because
not
you just strike me as somebody who was always very athletic.
everybody thinks that. Everyone asks me, "Were you a dancer? Were you a
Yeah.
cheerleader?"
Yeah.
No, no.
Okay.
I was
This is
raised
great. I love it.
again, going back to my childhood, I was raised in an extremely conservative household. Very, very, very religious overtones. Um, all things music, rock music, dancing, cheerleading, anything that would require somewhat of a revealing costume or any type of
Ah,
suggestive movement was highly discouraged. And it wasn't even thought of as an option. Do you know what I mean? Like not even something that would be an option for us. And there's 4
yeah.
girls in my family. We grew up on a farm. We raised horses. So I was very physical. I worked really hard. Grew up mucking out stalls and carrying hay bales, doing all that kind of work. But honestly, Betsy, I had crippling, crippling insecurity my whole
Mhm.
life. I was the youngest of 4 girls. I was not the smartest by a long shot. A couple of my sisters were pretty good pianists. I never played the piano as well as them. I felt very lost in the shuffle. I was never the pretty girl. I was never athletic. I never danced. I never cheered. I was everybody's friend. I was nice. And I was kind of funny and I got along with people. But it put me in front of a room, asked me to speak in front of people, and God forbid, asked me to do anything physical or with my body, like gym class, anything. Always the last one in the physical fitness test, not
Mhm.
picked team, just not good at anything. So I just kind of spent my whole life like that. And, and then growing up in the 80s and then,
Yeah.
thin, 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 massive insecurity. I mean, I remember, I look back now and I just die laughing. I'm like, when I graduated high school, I weighed 125 pounds and I thought I was obese. I mean, I thought I
Yeah.
was huge because all my friends weighed 110, 105, and which the numbers are so arbitrary. But at that time, I didn't know that. And so I went into adulthood with a lot of that insecurity and a lot of that really negative, just very skewed body image stuff. And it's amazing how the people you pick to hang out with will impact you. Just by chance, I happened to become friends with some people who were really into fitness. One roommate I had was a extremely accomplished marathon runner, and she was just appalled that I had never run, that I had never gone out and like run. And she's like, "You mean you can't run a mile?" I was like, "No, I can't." And she was like, "You're going to run a mile." And I loved her and we got along and she just kind of
And how old were you at this point?
like 18ish,
Okay.
18ish.
Okay.
So, our first couple years out of high school. And so that made me a little braver. You know what I mean? I started running.
Right.
And in my heart, I love music and I actually have pretty good musicality. I've never been taught to dance, but I can hear music. I can hear it very well. I can hear the 8 count. I can feel the beat. I
Mhm.
know where the music
Mhm.
is. And I always loved it. I would secretly listen to rock music and play it in the car, and then I'd put the channel back, when I bring the car back, I'd put it back on my mom's Christian music, and I'd be like, oh God, I mean, I literally had to hide like that my whole life. But I loved it. I always loved like MTV. Oh my God. When I go babysit places, I wasn't allowed to watch it at my house, but I would watch it. I loved music videos. And then I made friends with a gal who was kind of into like fitness classes and I started going with her. And I mean, I remember they would be grapevining that way. I'd be grapevining that way. Like I was the one who could not do it. But I kept at it for some reason. I don't know why I did. I think I had moved down here from Illinois to South Carolina. I was kind of like in a little redefining phase and I just started doing it. And I made more and more and more friends who were into
Nice.
physical fitness. And they kept encouraging me and they kept saying, you can do this. Come on, come have fun. And then I started to realize I'm actually kind of good at it. And then I met Mark. And if anybody knows Mark is a former competitive bodybuilder. He
Right.
doesn't know. And he is the exact opposite of me. He grew up thinking, I'm number one. I'm going to win. I will beat you. Like he was straight A student, president of the senior class. He's one of those people. He was just an achiever. I honestly have no idea what he saw in me. I have no idea.
Oh,
But for whatever reason, we meshed. And it's funny how you will like rise to the level of the people that you're with.
oh yeah,
And
true.
he never, and I will say one thing about Mark, he always just believed in me. He was like, you're smart,
Yeah.
you're beautiful, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Do it. And he looked at me just like, why would you be afraid? Do it. And I just started like feeding off his energy. And honestly, to be really transparent, my physical fitness pursuit started probably from really bad body image stuff, feeling bad about myself, and I want to look different. I want to change my body. But I will tell you, it has evolved over the years. And it was my physical fitness and the gym and that life was my escape from the pressures and the sadness and the frustrations and the fear that I had being an autism mom. And as the years went by, I just kept upping the ante. I started with those step classes and like basic conditioning classes. And then I got certified to teach myself. And I started with step. And then I went to this and I went to that. And over the years, I've run a half marathon. Mark and I were into really aggressive road biking. I've done 3 metric centuries. I've done 2 Spartans. I've done about 4 mud runs. I've been teaching. I'm 53 now. I've been teaching since I was 24 in some capacity or another. And now in being postmenopausal, my big loves are I've kind of created my own class. It's like a hybrid of Pilates, yoga, and mobility work. It's not truly yoga. It's not truly Pilates. It's kind of a blend. My workout partner and I came up with it ourselves. And then we have another couple formats that she and I have created. She has a dance background. I have a fitness background, and we blended it together. And I'm an avid weightlifter, and I am just a believer that your body is capable of so much more than you would ever imagine. And you can be a person who had crippling anxiety about body image, who had no athletic background, I have really no athletic ability whatsoever because I never played a sport. I was never taught to do anything. But if you can change your body, you can change your mind.
No, completely. And the other part I want to add is when I was in the thick of raising Joey,
Scary stuff.
and I was, Joey was challenging. He's
Challenging, yeah.
very, very high needs and a lot of meltdowns and a lot of challenges. I was so exhausted at the end of every day that I would tell myself, you can't exercise because you're just going to add more exhaustion to your life. What I didn't understand is that I needed the core strength to be able to get through the day with Joey so that I was stronger. Because one thing that I have found now, in a heartbeat, I would rather go to a very intense 1-hour workout than have to drive him around in the car for over 2 hours. Driving around in the car is, in my opinion, the most exhausting activity.
Yes. And it's not good for you. It's not good to sit. And I have said for years, I mean, there was a point I would say where I was a little OCD about it in my 40s. I was like teaching and I was running, and I mean, I was doing a lot. I was really driving my body hard. And I know for me, it could definitely, like, if there's anything I've ever been obsessive about, it's definitely fitness. Like, because it was a release. It was an identity that was not just wife and mom. It was something I was good at. And like, I'd go to the gym and teach 5 or 6 classes a week. Some people there didn't even know who I was married to or how many, they knew I was married and had kids, but I was their instructor, and they saw me in that light. And that was so good for me. I needed that. I needed to be seen as good at something, as a whole woman, as having an identity outside of just being my children's mother, and then just being an autism mom, which is how a lot of people see me. And it was just, the better I got at it, the more I could feel myself changing how I view myself and how I view other women. Because now I look at women, and when I see other women in the gym, no matter what level they're at, I'm like, you're crushing it. Look at you being brave to be in here, whether they're at that elite level, which I have some friends who are pretty freaking elite. I mean, they are doing some really amazing stuff. But nothing makes me happier than to see that new beginner in the gym, and she's there, and she's coming in, and she's being brave, and she's taking a chance, and to watch somebody, like, I did personal training for a while, to watch somebody get their first full clean push-up and to realize that they can squat the bar with 2 big plates on it, and they're looking around like, "Oh my god, I just squatted my body weight. I can't believe I can do that." It changes something in your brain. It really does, and we believe
Yeah.
Tanner. We have always pushed Tanner to do as much as he whatever he could feel good about and conceptualize. If he could understand it, we did it. I mean, Tanner has ridden 40 miles on bikes with me. Tanner ran cross country in high
Yeah,
school.
you and I have to take the boys on a bike ride
Oh
together
my
because
God, Tanner loves to
wouldn't
bike.
that be fun?
That'd
Oh
be
my gosh,
so
Joey
fun.
and Tanner would
So fun.
that'd be
But
incredible.
if that body is moving, he sleeps better, he eats better,
Oh, no
anxiety
doubt.
is so much more regulated, he's happier, the mood is up. It's incredible what
Joey,
physical.
you've heard what Joey says about physical
Oh,
fitness, is that the more he does it, the more energy he gets from it,
amen. They
and he
have.
wants to keep doing it.
I know.
Uh,
I always tell people, get your neurodiverse child outside, get them in the sun, get them
right.
in the grass, get them moving. They need to move that body.
If you're out there and you're thinking, but my back hurts me all
Mhm.
the time, I can't work. Part of the reason
It
your
hurts.
back hurts is
Right.
because you're using your back to lift everything through your day as opposed to your engaging your
Your core,
core
or
and
you're like,
having your core
yeah,
lift it for you. So if you're hurting, if I went to physical therapy for my hip and my back, all these kind of older age kind of issues that were happening, not
right.
realizing they could be reversible through exercise by just strengthening the
100%.
right muscles.
And the other thing that, has really hit me, we always laugh, my girlfriends and I, who are kind of in the fitness world, you can really abuse it in your 20s and 30s. Some lucky people can even do it all the way through their 40s. You can smoke your cigarettes, drink your wine, eat your crap, and still look really good. But menopause will get you. I mean, like
Yeah.
when you hit menopause, buddy, the rubber meets the road. And you can tell people that is when your hormones stop helping you and they fall off the cliff, you are gonna find out. It's gonna be a struggle.
And let's just say, don't do it for the size of your dress.
No.
You're doing it for the stamina. That's
Amen.
that's the power that it comes from me. The fact
And
that I can keep up with
yes,
Joey. He's a 30-year-old man. I'm just about to turn 60-year-old woman.
right.
The fact that I can keep up with him
Yep.
is much more important to me than what my dress size is. Tell me more. Do you have your own fitness program? Do you actually have this online, or is it something that it's in your gym, or
No.
what is it?
We've been asked forever. My teaching partner name is Celeste, and she is a badass. She is 56 years old. She has 5 children, and you can go on my page and see videos of her. It's phenomenal what she
I've
has.
seen. No,
She
I've watched you for
her
sure.
her whole life. And for both she and I, fitness is as much about the mental therapy as it is the physical. And then the
Mhm.
camaraderie and the positive peer pressure, just keeping each other. It's never, ever, ever a competition, but it's sort of like, she's hitting that pose. I think I could do it too. But we are not online. People have asked us for years, but that space is so
Oh,
saturated and it's so
I
freak into. I
well,
mean,
and it's not necessarily something I believe in as well, because I'll
yeah.
tell you something. I've spent a lot of years saying, "Oh, I can't leave my family." I have found ways, and this is before Joey moved out. I've started finding a way that tag teaming with Ron so that I could make it a priority. And there's something really powerful of the intention of leaving the
Oh,
house
yep. I agree.
and going someplace.
I
That's
agree.
really,
And the friendship and the relationships,
oh,
that's
the
important.
best.
There's, I mean, but like we have this amazing, cool group of women who I really wouldn't have any other reason to socialize with.
Yeah,
That's where I see
yeah.
them. We go to church together. We don't have kids in school anymore. It isn't like I wouldn't know them otherwise, but we're impacting each other every week
Mhm.
and we're pouring into each other. And that hour that we spend together pushing our bodies is like a release hour for all of us. It's an hour where we're feeding our souls and our bodies and our spirits, and we're bouncing off of each other and we're making each other feel more confident, feel more empowered. That's invaluable. I mean,
Mhm.
that is invaluable to have that group. And they're, like I said, they're not women that I would necessarily even have the option to see other
Right.
than,
I almost don't wanna know a lot about the people that I love so much that I work out with because I don't wanna look for anything
yeah,
but our commonality of love of being here.
no, exactly. And it is a gym people get it. You know, like
no,
it's
it's
a cool
so
thing.
there's another part of this I wanna mention because, I noticed this recently. So there's something with muscle memory and there's something with the
Mhm.
body response that is powerful about showing up in a particular place at a particular time,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
routinely. And what happens is I'm tired like everyone else in the morning, get going with a little bit of caffeine and
Right.
start my day. But when I arrive, I find myself as I'm walking up the steps to my studio and I feel my body getting revved.
Yeah.
There is something about showing up at the same time, the same place, the
Yes.
same,
Amen.
beat to the music or whatever it is that says to your body, time to go.
Time
Let's
to
go. Let's
and
do this.
and I have I don't know, almost never have I walked out of a workout and been sorry that I did it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've walked into many not wanting to be there. I've walked into many
Yeah.
feeling bummed out, frustrated, distracted,
Yeah.
like, I don't have it in me today. But almost never do I leave not feeling and I can be just like, crawling with anxiety about whatever issue or whatever
Yeah.
child's problem is going on or what,
Yeah.
who I'm worried about. And I'll walk out and be like, after I've had a good sweat and I've challenged my body and I've moved, I'll feel like, okay, it still sucks, but I'm going to get through it. I'm going to be okay. It regulates me. I mean, it
Yeah.
really does. It brings me down. It pulls me in. And then at least I know in that day, I did something for myself. I'm healthier. I'm stronger and have a sense of accomplishment. And, to me, that's non negotiable, like you said.
That's it.
It
And
really
it
is.
becomes who you are. So,
It does.
now the other part is aside from the back hurting and all those
Right.
other things that I'm all too aware of is, joint pain.
Oh,
And you and I wanna talk a little bit about this. I worked in the holistic health field for
mhm,
16 years, plus, and I know a lot about nutrition and
right.
supplements and things such as that. But the joint pain is a real issue, and
Oh,
a
yeah.
big part of what's leading the joint pain are 2 big things. One is the foods that you're eating,
Yeah.
and the other is the lack of overall movement. I mean, yes, I'm not saying you're not moving. We're moving around the house. We're
Right.
moving with the kids. We're doing that, but it's the engaging all the different muscle
And
groups.
it's not like intentional movement that's
Right.
meant to strengthen a muscle, which then strengthens a joint. Yeah.
Right. So
Like
what is your path with nutrition?
my path with nutrition is basically just 80-20 clean eating. Probably for me, it's more like 90-10. I mean, now I will say Tanner's Tanner's schedule with all the traveling has thrown me a good bit. And
I can even imagine. It is
we've done
so hard to eat well when you
it
travel.
is. We've done a lot more eating out. And of course, when you're on a plane or in an airport, you're
Yeah.
much more likely to do more snacking than I would do at home. But I am a big believer in muscle mass. I think women do not understand how important it is to carry around more than you think you need. And then all the myths about women believing that if I go in the gym, I'm suddenly going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I wish. I can promise you, you can lift an obscene amount of weight and still not look as, muscular as you want to. Um, but I'm all about fueling and maintaining the amount of muscle that I have because at the age I'm at, in my 50s and like I said, postmenopausal, the odds of building muscle are decreasing by the year. What I'm trying to
Yes.
do is not lose what I have. I have a scale where I loosely track like a couple times a month, like what is my muscle mass, making sure that I'm not on the decline. So I aim for 120 grams of protein a day and just as much whole food as I can do. Like I'm always like, okay, have I had some dark colored berries? Have I had some green leafies? Have I had a sweet potato? I put chia seeds in places they probably don't need to go. You
Do
know what I
you
mean?
do you have the teeth? I always have I
I have
always
pickers everywhere. I
I
have the
know.
tooth pickers everywhere. I drink a lot of water.
Yeah, me
I
too.
am not and I'm like also like, I mean, I'll eat a potato with the skin for the fiber and an apple with the I'm always just thinking, how am I fueling? And I know how I need to feel because I want to feel strong. And, I teach classes up in front of people, and I always feel like if I want them to even give 75%, I have to give 150. You know what I mean? Like if you want your
Yeah.
class members to give over the median point, you got to be really on. I got to be motivating. I got to have my shit together. I got to cue
Uh-huh.
well. I have to know what I'm doing. I have to execute very well. I have to look like I'm enjoying it, and I can't do that if I'm not fueled.
Yeah.
So yeah, for
Yeah.
me, I mean, I don't really count macros except for a loose, tracking of protein. And I'm not really counting calories either. I'm a big believer in stop when you're full.
Oh,
That's
well, and
another thing.
calories don't give you any
No,
indicator of
they
just
really
something that's
don't.
good for you. I'm more I think I guess I would call me more paleo
Mhm,
is
mhm.
ish. I'm just stay away from anything that's inflammatory. So I'm staying away from all seed oils,
Yep.
which by the way, I was so impressed when I was in Atlanta how many restaurants were seed oil free.
Yeah,
I couldn't
Atlanta's
believe it.
great. They have a lot of options. They really do.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, no. But I'm seed oil free, and I pretty much it just basically meats, different variety of good organic meats,
yep.
lots of vegetables. I don't do grains very much at all.
You would well, you're in there.
But I
Yep,
do a lot of nuts and seeds as
yep,
well, and
yep.
and I do fruit. I have no problem with the
Either.
fructose fruit. But
I don't
again, that sugar piece is a big inflammatory. Sugar, dairy, grains, those are the things that make your joints swell. Those are
make
the
your
things that make your body hurt.
And, I feel like, looking at food and like you're maintaining the machine that you want to work well. You know what I mean? And I want my machine to work well. You know what I mean? I want my body to work well. And I've kind of gotten into a rhythm of how I know I'm going to feel like I like to eat before my workout in the morning. Celeste, she does not. Like she likes to come in fasted. I don't eat much. I eat about 200 calories, but I just feel better if I have a little something on board. She feels better if she eats right after she's done. So, it's a personal thing. Another thing for me, it's like I am not at all anti-alcohol, but I don't drink much of it. I'm
Yeah, me
very much
neither.
a social drinker. It's a treat for me, like when I'm out away from the home, if Mark and I are out, if I'm out with the girls. But honestly, I know how it makes me feel. I don't feel great. I feel sluggish. I
Same.
feel tired. I feel a little bit swollen. It makes me a little bit congested. And then what I
It's the
really,
histamine,
it
that
is
beautiful histamine thing that hits after 50 as well.
exactly. I'm
That's
like,
another thing to look forward to,
it
everyone.
isn't like it's not worth it to me. It's not worth it. I'm like, why would I do that? And almost every morning of the week, my schedule, if I'm not traveling, is to get up and work out
Yeah,
pretty quickly after within the first couple hours that I'm awake. So I can't feel bad. Like I'm like, so to me, alcohol is not worth it. It's not. And plus
yeah,
it's expensive and it's so many empty calories. And I'm a former nurse. Like I
yeah.
understand, like, your body is gonna go process that alcohol first before it does anything good for you. So, you just set yourself up for a little bit of failure right there. If you're drinking every day, you're never gonna get ahead of that
Oh,
because
talk about inflammatories. I mean,
oh,
alcohol's crazy.
100%.
Yeah, no, I mean, my drug of choice is caffeine in the
Yeah,
morning,
me too.
which is why it's like when you were like, let's do a morning podcast. I'm like, thank goodness, because I mean,
Yeah,
while this is going, I'm
right.
doing my best work.
Yeah, I'm not at my best in the mid-afternoon. Mid-afternoon is my low point of the day, and then I kinda come back to life in the early evening, but I don't do great in mid-afternoon. That is not my high point.
Yeah,
But
no, but the muscle mass you said is really important. I want
it
to
is.
just return to that because muscle mass does.
It
I've started
matters.
hearing a lot about that, how much it quickly
Mhm.
decreases as we get older.
Yes.
My what triggered it for me was I couldn't pick up like if I was making pasta or bone broth, I couldn't even pick up the pot from the stove anymore.
Right.
Now I could press that about
Press
50
it.
times over my head.
You needed
But
to.
but that's where it had led me. So anybody who's listening to any of this, I just want to make sure encourage you that you
Yeah.
cannot believe how fast your body responds when you make a commitment to
Oh,
it.
it's
And,
amazing, and
and
especially when it's
yeah,
new. Like a newbie, they think I
yeah,
mean, bake it the best. Honestly, when you get to a certain point, then you
True.
diminishing returns, and then it's harder to make change.
Yes.
When you're new to it, it's fascinating actually
How
how quick
fast it goes.
change.
The other part, and you've said this in different ways, but I also want to say this because this is something that I'm big with whenever I'm counseling somebody on diet. So whether it's diet or exercise, it cannot be about willpower. It's
No.
about becoming who you are.
Yeah.
I am a person who this is what I eat. I'm not saying I never go off of it or anything like that, but in my mindset, this is what I eat. This is my workout routine. It is so black and white in my head.
Me too.
There's unless I'm like really sick, there's really no gray area to it.
Oh, me
So
too.
because if you have to negotiate with yourself every single morning to
You're
go into this
never
lifestyle,
gonna last. Yeah, you're never
so
gonna last.
so people who say, "I'm gonna try to diet for a month," or maybe I'll do it's that's willpower. But you have a lifetime of I always say, I have a lifetime of poor decisions to make up for.
Right.
And now that this is who I am, I don't look at it as lack. I didn't spend a lot of time saying what I don't eat. I mentioned a
Right.
few things, but it's what I do eat. And that's what
Yeah.
excites me because there's so many great foods of what I do eat.
Well,
So,
and
yeah.
one thing I would tell people too, and because people ask me, like, "Oh, you're in great shape or whatever," and they'll say, like, "What do you do?" People ask all the time, "What is your workout routine?" And I don't mind that question, but I'm like, it does not matter what my workout routine is. What matters is that I have
Yes.
been consistent for the past
Yes.
30 years. And of all things I can say in my life, I have been consistent for 30 years. I have never stopped. And honestly, I've kind of kept adding to the challenge. I've been like, I did that, I can do that. I did that, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that.
No limitations.
There
Right.
is no magic. And this used to drive me crazy. I used to be the coordinator at our local YMCA. And I would see women, we had a weightlifting class. I would see women drive. We live in kind of a rural area from 20 minutes away, arrive 15 minutes early, and they would sit on the bench outside the classroom waiting for the next class to be done or the first class to be done, go in, put very little weight, a weight they could easily do that was not
Mhm.
challenging them at all, kind of half-ass it through the class, and then drive 20 minutes home. Please God, if you don't hear me say anything else today, you would be so much better off to go out in your own yard or find a buddy and walk aggressively
Mhm.
fast for 30 minutes and make yourself do 3 1-minute planks every day, all day long. Now,
Yeah.
if
Those
you're going to come
planks,
to me and
man.
you're going to really do it, then that's great. And for God's sake, if you get to the gym 15 minutes early, don't sit on the bench. Go get on the treadmill. Go get on the bike. What
Or
are you
stretch.
Right. Move, move,
You
move.
have to
The word
stretch, get that body
word is
moving.
move. You have to move.
Yeah.
And it's all mindset. And any movement is better than no movement. If you hate the gym, like one of my sisters, she hates the gym, but she runs the horse farm we grew up on, and she's an avid walker. Now, it's not the kind of movement I do, but we don't like the same things. And the other thing with food is like it's just be logical. There's no magic to it. Just be logical. Like people overcomplicate it. There's
Yeah.
no perfect anything. Eat real food. And like when my kids were little, those were the years that I ran because running was what I had time for and what worked in our life. I would get up and run at, 4:35, 5:30 in the morning before Mark left for work because he was still in the house and could listen out for the kids. So in those years, I was kind of really big into running because it was the staple of my program because I could do it. And I did less gym. Now I wouldn't run if you paid me now because it isn't good for my joints. And
No. Yeah.
it's too inflammatory. It's too hard hitting. It was fine when I was younger and I had the hormones to support it. It's
We
not now.
should. Things should morph and change as we move on.
Exactly. And there's no wrong way to do it.
So let's switch gears a little bit because you do so much. I
Mm.
mean, it's so funny because as my friend, sometimes I want to send you a text and then I get on social media. I'm like, okay, you're in Hawaii, you're in New York, you're in LA. I'm like, well, should I
Nope.
send her a text? Should I bother her right now?
I love it.
It's so funny. It's like picking up the phone. Where is Nicci today?
Yes.
But
I don't always know. I'm always like, wait. Where
I
are
can imagine you wake up many days like, "Where am I?
where am I?
Where's Tanner?"
Yeah, what's
Like
happening? It's been that way for sure.
So what I really wanna go with this question is more on the social media
Mhm.
standpoint because you're navigating several accounts. You have Talk to Me Sis podcast, which
Yep,
you have the account for that. You have your own personal account,
yep,
and then I'm assuming you're managing
yeah.
Tanner's account
Both
as
as
well?
well. Yeah, me and my daughters, yeah.
So, that's a lot.
It is
That's
a
a l
full-time freaking job, and honestly,
yeah,
I'm the only one of those 3 entities that's getting the attention that it deserves is Tanner's.
yeah,
Obviously, because he has the biggest platform and he cannot do it himself. Like,
yep.
he has to have help. Um, I desperately want to do more with Talk to Me Sis. So does Lise. And we're both navigating, figuring out like how can we grow it? How can we make it bigger and better and more thrive, help it thrive. And we literally just can't do everything. We cannot because, Tanner's alone, all consuming. I mean, I'm trying to build a YouTube for him, just getting started on Facebook, and he has a thriving Instagram and TikTok. I mean, that's all the time. I mean, and
So
then of
much.
course, because he can't do the editing and the posting himself, obviously he's integrally involved in the creation. I mean, it's him.
Yeah.
And we have a good time. He actually really enjoys making videos and he's good
Oh,
at it. And we always try to like any trend we're gonna do, I always show him if he doesn't see it already. Like I always show him like, okay, do you think this is funny? Do you like this song? Do you like this sound? Or like, do you think you can do this? We always like get his opinion before we go for it. And he's good. He's good at talking on camera
yeah.
because he has no inhibitions. He has no self-confidence issues. He has no awareness of like, he doesn't care what anyone thinks. So he's perfectly fine to just get on camera and go for
So good, and and it shows. He's just
it. Oh, it's
so
so fun. We have the best.
beautiful.
I have to laugh. Um, I saw somebody actually, we posted a really funny, like people are doing that home goods trend where they go to home goods and find the most outlandish, crazy, knickknack they can find. And then they act like it's the best thing they've ever seen. It's just a funny trend.
Okay.
Just did that this week and it was hilarious. And we just found some really off the wall items and, going back and forth about it. And I saw someone made a comment about like, oh, it's just so sad. This family is just driving him for money. And every post he does now is a sponsored post. And I just had to laugh to myself. I'm like, actually, Home Goods has no idea. We did this post, this is a trend. There's a million creators doing it. And I was like, if you would go back, like say, take like a 90-day period and count the number of posts Tanner has done that are sponsored or a paid partnership versus how many total posts there are.
Yeah.
It's not many. I'm like, I'll bet the average person works a lot more than that. It's just so silly, but
Oh, yeah. Well, how are you then dealing with these kind of negative comments that
honestly, that is evolving. I'm
yeah.
evolving through that. When season 2 came out, Lisa and I think she's fine with me talking about this, because we kind of get lumped together because of the podcast and everything. Season 2 kind of felt like sunshine and rainbows and kittens and everything was cotton
Yeah.
candy. Love on the Spectrum was just this happy, perfect little bubble. And I really saw almost no critiques or criticism, maybe just the very odd one here and there, but it
Yeah.
was minimal to none. Season 3, when the show really exploded and became like such a worldwide kind of phenomenon, well, then the families come under scrutiny and the moms, particularly because we're who's more seen on the, well, for us, it was actually Midge who's more seen on the show, but I'm more in his social media with him and stuff. And so we got and Lise and her family really, they had a lot more screen time than we did. And
Yeah.
so it very much scrutinized. And there was one TikToker in particular who did kind of a hate piece on Lisa and I, took a very random piece of information, nothing we said, nothing we did, and just made a bunch of assumptions about us, made a bunch of false claims. It got over 1 million views. People started going crazy. We got
What?
DMs. Oh, it was awful. This was back in the beginning of the year when after the show first came out.
Yeah.
We were getting DMs saying that we should off
Yeah.
ourselves, that we're horrible mothers, that we don't care about our children, that this was an agenda all along, and we just wanted to, get fame from the boys, that we don't care about them, that we don't care about other people, other families with autism. We only care about families like ours. We got called, that we're racist. I don't know why. It was really hard. And I'll be honest, that was a tough hit. And it came so soon after the show and very soon after the release of the podcast. And neither one of us was prepared. We are not trained media people. I don't have media training. I don't have a publicist. I don't have someone that is standing in the gap for me. Neither does she. And it rocked me. And I have honestly, since the show came out in April, I have not posted much on my personal pages. I've done some funny things. I've done some things for fitness or for clothes, like being silly about like an outfit. But for a while there, I was really trying to use particularly my TikTok to educate, to talk about menopause, to talk a lot about autism and all things connected to it, family stuff. I love talking about those subjects. I want to be helpful. But the hate that we got and the meanness and just the viciousness of those attacks, it really, and I want to get back to doing like personal direct to camera talking, posting. And every time I go to do it, I just feel this hesitation. Like, I don't know if I can do it because it was so damaging. And when you open your DMs and people are saying, you curse word, horrible mother. And you're like, I'm just a normal mom from South Carolina. And it was unbelievable. But I will say, they say you learn, through your trials. You don't learn in the easy times, you learn in the hard times.
Yeah.
It has thwarted me in my personal, but like with Tanner, because with Tanner, I know who Tanner is. I know how pure and uncomplicated he is and his presence is. What you all see is who he is. You've met him, know.
I got to be in the car with him. It made me so happy. He was shotgun, and we had he's just incredible.
He's adorable. And it made me very like, it also gave me a little bit of like, after I sort of processed it, I was like, you know what? No, hate me if you want to. But if you're not going to take the time to talk to me, to listen to my podcast, to really go back and watch the videos, that I posted before, between shows and when things were not as poppin', I told Tanner's whole story. Go back on my TikTok. I literally did a series on like birth to now. And so many people were helped by it. Go look at my fitness stuff. Go listen to my menopause stuff and really make a judgment on me then. You know what I mean? Like, and so it really empowered me in a lot of ways too. And I feel like it sort of prepared me for something. I'm not even quite sure what yet, but I'm like, now I know. It was just like a good wake up call. There are evil people in the world. There are really mean people who just literally don't want to do anything but think the worst and sit around and wait for someone to be drugged so that they can join in the dragging. It made me aware of that, and I needed to be aware with Tanner having this big of a platform, and so I can protect him better. So it is a weird balance of protecting myself, but also being braver. And I'm a little bit more like, now when I do post something, you can bet your bottom dollar I do not care what you think. You know what I mean? Like, when and if does that make sense? And I don't mean that to sound harsh, but like, but I'm more like, now, if and when I do post something, I meant it. I stand 10 toes down behind it. And if you don't like it,
well, here's one of the things, and I had said this in one of my videos, is that the separation for it, the ability to be able to separate yourself means it's a two-way street, in the sense that you also cannot get an ego for the good things they say about you.
Right.
As well. So, because if you care about the good things or need to hear those good things, then you're going to care about the bad. I actually just get a little sometimes uncomfortable when people are like, "Oh, you're such a great mom," or whatever. And I love that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't stop doing that. I don't mean it that way. It's just that that is not what I need to hear. You know
Right.
what really gets me and gets me excited is when someone said, I learned how, like, my child's spelling now because of Joey. My
Yes.
child's riding a bike now because of Joey.
Yes.
You know, my
Men.
child ate their first vegetable now because of my
Of ju
videos,
You're
or,
you're
you know, the
eating,
stuff that
yeah.
I'm doing on diet. And I that's the part that fuels me. That's the part that gets me
Exactly.
going.
Like when I get met, like, oh, we decided to try this therapy, or I decided to make a video with my kid after watching Tanner, or even
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I've been feeling so in the dumps. And then I watched y'all's relationship and I realized that it will get better someday and I will feel close to him and we will have a friendship. That's all I need. And when people message me about like the gym stuff and they're like, I went and took a class, or, oh, it just motivated me. You're still doing that in your 50s. I can do it in my 30s. That's the stuff that just drives me and makes me so happy and makes it worth it. And, when I think about social media, we genuinely, our family, Tanner as an entity, Talk to Me Sis, we genuinely want to do good. We genuinely want what we have been through. And I feel like I've been very honest about the things I feel like I screwed up on and the things I would have done differently. But then again, but then I'm like, but don't we all have that? I mean, like when Tanner was born, I was 26. I was 26 when he was diagnosed. I'm like, when we started, I was 29. What did I know? No, nothing. I just did my best. I did my best at that time. And then when I knew better, I did better. If that makes sense. Like I just kept evolving with him. And we didn't do a perfect job. He has plenty of flaws and things that I feel like if I had done that different, he probably wouldn't struggle with that. But I can't live in that. I have to look at what he is and where he's thriving and the impact that he's having. And this season in our life, I mean, and there's an element, I think sometimes people just don't want to see other people succeed. They just don't want to see you have a good moment. There are those people too. And I mean, it's made me want to cheer for people louder. It's made me want to be like, go, go, go. You can do it. I am so happy for you. That's what people need to hear.
Yeah,
And, pe- and,
100%.
and sometimes and I have such a burden, like you and I have talked about, for the families, like, I mean, that are struggling with more intense issues and that are dealing with a harder outcome and that are dealing with, a harder long-term outlook. And I don't even know what I'm saying when I talk about that, but I just want there to be a meeting in the middle and more of an understanding in the autism world. I want people to be more supportive. I want those families to have a bigger voice. I don't want to be guilty of, you know, making it look like it's easier than it is or making it look like it's prettier than it is. I don't want to do that at all. I want to be very open about the hard parts. And a lot of times, especially like with Tanner's happy little presence, people don't want to hear that he has anxiety or OCD. I'm like, oh, he does. Oh, he does. Oh,
Right.
he holds grudges. Oh, he gets mad. Oh, he has bad days. And sometimes, you know what? He's annoying as crap when he gets on with some of those OCD rants and he wants to talk about, you're in the airport looking for an Uber, trying to get your bags, you're exhausted. And he's like, Mom, did you remember Mighty Joe Young? Did you remember in Mighty Joe Young? And I'm like, stop it.
Oh, I get this.
But people don't always want to hear that. But that's the reality of living with his adult. That's how his autism
Yeah.
is hard. He has this very obsessive mind. He gets very anxious about very strange things. He does not get anxious about what you or I would get anxious about. He gets anxious about very obscure, strange things. And a lot of times people see like one little teeny corner of that, and they really do not understand how it plays out in real life. And they do not, and I think people forget too that, just because he does live independently and he has had all this success, he will never be 100% independent. It comes with a tremendous degree of support and
Yes.
forethought and provision. And we are constantly thinking about helping him stay regulated, helping him be successful.
Always.
I mean, it's always. And yes, he does function very highly, but he does not function totally independently. And I think people make a lot of snap judgments there. Like they assume things that they don't know. And I have to just be okay with that because I'm sure I do it too, to other people online, that I don't see their whole picture. And I've tried to be much more open-minded too, like looking at people and thinking about what they're going through. And, I've watched a lot of like what I would consider really big creators come online and cry, talking about how they've received, 20 hate DMs, or people just picked apart their appearance or their lifestyle or their relationship. And it just breaks my heart. I'm like, why the meanness in the world? Be nice, man. Lift people
Mhm.
up. And if you don't agree with them or you don't like them, just don't follow them.
That's right. It's the
No.
buffet of life. I talk
Yeah.
about it all the time. I mean, life is a buffet, and you don't just because it's
Right.
sitting out there on the buffet
You
doesn't
don't have
mean you
to
have to
take
put
my
it on your
place.
plate.
Exactly. You definitely don't have to watch us. Like, if you don't like us, if we bother you, my
That's right.
goodness, don't watch it. Do you get much? Do you get a lot of ugliness?
No, I don't.
That's
But I have no problem blocking.
me too.
Because people are saying, "Oh, that hurts your algorithm." Like, I don't care. I don't care what my
Mm-mm.
numbers are. Whatever. I'll just block them.
Yep.
I mean, like so I don't. And I get stuff occasionally, not a tremendous amount, but
Yeah.
it's pretty rare. But it's definitely made me apprehensive about becoming bigger.
Right.
Because
Oh, yeah.
I am getting bigger, and as everything is starting to grow, a little part of me is like, you cannot have growth without more criticism. And
That is
but I will also say that there has been a lot of criticism that has enriched me.
Yep.
I've received several messages, when said the right way,
Yep. Yes.
that were critical, that I really
You're like,
took a step
"Oh,
back from and thought,
okay, you might be
that
right."
actually makes sense.
And I'm so glad you said that, because I do wanna make that clear too. What I've said in the last few minutes does not mean that I'm not open to other ideas or people. One good example, when all this first happened and the first couple of times we presented publicly, Tanner used the term superpower of describing his autism. And then I watched some videos of some families of level 3 profoundly affected kids who were having a horrible time say, I want to vomit when
Mhm.
people with highly verbal children call it a superpower. And Betsy, I felt a cold, sick, nauseated feeling, because the context in which we said it, in Tanner's life, in his experience, in what has happened
Mhm.
over the last 3 to 4 years, it has been actually like supernatural feeling. It has been unbelievable, the
Yeah.
impact that he's had. And and I was, when I helped him write those words, I was thinking in terms of, if he wasn't autistic, he wouldn't be having this impact on the world. That was what we were trying to say by using that term. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
if it wasn't for this supposed disability, he would not be blessing the world in the way that he is. But if someone just took that at face value, and here he is, this cute little fella online and on Netflix, I can see where that would just crush them and make them feel so not seen. So we have taken that word out. We do not say that anymore. We have changed the way we phrase things. We say things like, in Tanner's life, in my experience, in
Mhm.
the way things have
Mhm.
played out for me. And I don't use that term, but we are very careful, because you're right. You can be very unconsciously insensitive in this world, not meaning to be, having no ill intention, but you can accidentally say something that could really hurt a family that's coming from a different lens. So, yeah, you're right. Constructive. And oh my gosh, when someone's kind, like when they send me a DM
Uh-huh.
and, hey,
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to, and I've gotten some of those, particularly on the podcast, like, or like even the way I talk on the podcast, or
Right.
the way I move my hands. It's good. It's great. I'm not at all closed off to constructive criticism, but please just be kind. Please be
Always.
respectful. Please don't come at me with hate. And if you just don't like me, or my daughters, or Tanner for that matter, or whoever, there's not many that don't like Tanner. But, I'm like, if you don't, then it's fine. We don't have to watch each other.
Well, let me say and close with this,
Yes.
in that I know you pretty well,
Oh,
and I have met Midge in pure delight, and I had the pleasure of actually getting to go to Tanner's apartment and spend some time with Tanner, which was incredible. Um, and you made the right people famous.
oh,
Let me just
thank you
say
so much.
that they are, as well as Lise and her family.
Agreed.
They
100.
They are
She's
everything you want them to be.
Oh, thank you.
And
That means the world to me, and we are really going through all of this trying to leave that impression on everyone that meets us, like, we really are trying to leave a positive little mark on everyone that this life brings into our path, because we feel like we were given this ticket for some reason, and so we're trying to use it wisely. We really are.
I love it. Thank you so much, Nikki, for
Oh my
being on
gosh,
today.
love talking with you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Everybody will be back with you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Betsy. Oh, okay. She's good.
Leave end session.